So this is going to be something that I've done a video on before briefly, talking about my thoughts and opinions of, budget items and stuff and talking about companies and everything, but I kind of want to delve a little bit deeper into my thought process on when it comes to budget items because there's a lot of times where I do discussion videos like this and people ask me, okay, well, if you're saying this company or this product's overpriced or something like that, what can you suggest that's budget to fit whatever my niche is or whatever I'm trying to do? And it kind of boils down to, well, sometimes when people ask me, I don't know what they're going to use the products for, or I am not in that category of using certain products for those things. And it's like, well, your options when you're trying to create that type of content is going to be limited. So you have no choice but to get that overly priced, expensive thing. Most of the time, my goal when I talk about, not paying a ridiculous amount of money for a product is just to let you know that whatever you're buying is actually overpriced. And that's the problem when it comes to doing content creation. And when you're thinking about picking up certain items and stuff, a lot of people have this mindset to where either they're thinking that whatever product they're getting from a company is justified in its pricing because it's a company that's known or whatever. It just because a company has a decent name or recognizable name doesn't mean that brand is reputable. And what I mean by that, it means yes, they might be a brand that you can walk into Walmart, you can walk into Best Buy, you can walk into your local electronics store wherever you live or wherever. And just because you can find Logitech or wherever, keyboards, mouse, webcams or whatever, doesn't mean that's what you should go with. You know what I'm saying? You should scour and do your own research or whatever, but scour the internet and find out, okay, price to performance. Is this something that I want to pick up? Should I pick up the C920 or should I get one of the OnSpot webcams or one of the eMeets webcams, something between $100 and $200? And I would argue after doing content creation, video content creation since like 2014 and streaming content creation since like 2015, and then in the past 3 years switching over and doing product reviews and obviously buying equipment and stuff, moving houses, doing all that stuff. And on top of that, my background with technology being from a military standpoint, as well as having psychology classes and stuff through college and everything, I'm here to tell you that a lot of equipment nowadays that you're going to get that's going to be, I would say, able to get the job done, you're going to have to move your budget up from a below $100 to $100 to $200. That's the price range right now that we need to start considering as content creators to be the budget entry level, I would say, standard now. I would argue that that's truthful. Some people might still disagree. There might be some desk accessories or some accessories that you can get that's going to be under $100 and it's going to be suitable. Like maybe you can find a good cob light or wherever for under $100. Most soft boxes, depending on which one you want to go with and then what type you want to go with, can be easily found for 70, 80, 60 bucks or wherever, depending. But when it comes to getting like cameras, webcams, microphones, whatever it is, I would argue that we need to start moving our budget up from below $100 to $100 to $200. And I'm saying this knowing that I am a fan of Fine, knowing that I am a fan of a lot of the budget accessories, especially microphones being under $100. But push comes to shove, when somebody asks me, hey, I want to take content creation seriously and I am trying to grow my brand and I'm trying to grow an audience and a presence, if somebody sat down and told me that stuff, I wouldn't be recommending a Fine microphone. I would be recommending bare minimum the Rode PodMic or the Shure MV7X if you want to go dynamic way, or if you wanted to get a non-dynamic microphone, then bare minimum I would recommend the Movo VSM5. That is a $99 microphone. Comes with a if I remember correctly, I think it comes with a XLR cable, but it comes with a shock mount, it comes with a pop filter, microphone, all the stuff to do your content creation, whether it's a podcast, recording videos, live stream, stuff like that. And again, that's the entry level of $99. And again, fantastic webcams from OnSpot that are coming in bare minimum at $129 for the Tiny 2, the OnSpot Meet 4K version 2, all the way up to the Tiny 2 Lite, which is like a smaller little brother of their Tiny 2, which both are fantastic 4K webcams. You have stuff from eMeet. People have told me the S800 is perfectly fine for them. They didn't care about what I said in my review, wherever it still worked for them. They didn't care about that. But even that or wherever is around between $100 to $150, depending on if it goes on sale or something like that. But you're getting 4K 30. And yes, it's not 4K 60 like some offerings like from Elgato, but that webcam is like 300 and something dollars, 400 something dollars, whatever the price is for that. And at that point, you might as well save up the extra $200 to $300 maybe and go with the used market for the Sony ZV-E10 Mark I, which I'm using right now with the 16mm lens, the f1.4. That's what you should be focusing on, is spending your money correctly when it comes to getting items or whatever for your content creation. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people have this misconception that you must get everything budget. And it's mostly going to be towards what I'm talking about today is going to be mostly towards the people that are trying to get content creation to become a thing. And what I mean by that is they're trying to get content creation to become a job. Even if they're starting off for a hobby, they're looking to get some kind of monetary value out of content creation, whether it is to pay some type of bill or maybe try to accomplish something that they have set out as a goal or something like that, whether it be, from an analytical standpoint or a follower standpoint, subscriber standpoint, viewership standpoint, all that stuff that follows under analytics, or they're just trying to build a reputable name or something like that in order to start working with brands and everything. And that's their goal, that's their dream, that's their aspiration. And then they sit there for 5-6 years or wherever using the Logitech C920, using a mouse and keyboard, even though they're trying to be a pro player and they're not getting a Hall Effect, keyboard. They're still going into Walmart, Best Buy, like I said, and picking up a Logitech or Razer or whatever else is offered or wherever there. And it's like, yes, some of those things might be a convenience. And again, they might be a recognizable brand, but it doesn't mean they're a reputable brand. And what I mean by that, you can do your own research on this. Logitech has been exposed multiple times for not only false advertisement for their webcams, but they also have been exposed for using sensors that are decades old, if not about to be decades old, or 5 years plus or wherever old. And all they do is change out the body that's housing the sensor. And the sensors is not, it's not even in the same league as even the Elgato face cams or wherever, the Mark 1 and the Mark II. And I think that's pretty obvious. But they're charging at a low. Most of them could be found between 60 to 80 bucks or wherever for like the C920 line of webcams. The Logitech Brio, like all these other webcams, even the Razer webcams and stuff, most people are probably going to be up in arms. They're going to sit there and tell me in the comment section that those webcams work fine for them. But then when you look at their viewership, when you look at what they are offering in comparison to what you're seeing visually, even from my camera right now, you can tell that it's not on par. It's not the same. But these are the same people who are saying that they want to make it as a content creator, but they won't spend or invest any kind of money over $100 because they're saying that everything that's over $100 is not worth it. Every time I see a company come out with a really cool, innovative product and it's like $100 and something, I see all the time in comment sections from other people's videos that, oh, well, it's too expensive for me. I'm not spending that much money on that stuff. I will keep on working with this X product or whatever until it just finally fails on me and everything. But then you ask them, do you want to be a content creator? Do you want this to be a job and stuff like that? I understand, like, if you're a hobbyist, I understand, like, hey, you're just doing it for fun. You're recording from your cell phone or wherever. You don't really care if you get views and stuff like that. By all means, you just like the process of editing and everything like that. You love having a small community or wherever. That's fine. I'm not trying to shame anybody into picking up products or wherever that would just be useless to them. But again, if you have that mindset of wanting to make something out of being a content creator, then why sit there and suffer for 5-6 years or wherever, instead of investing into your hobby, into your niche, or into whatever you're doing? And by wanting to do that and knowing that's what you want to do, you have to move your expectations from staying under $100 to $100 to $200 nowadays. That's where I think more value is going to be found when it comes to products. I honestly do think that going into 2025. And me saying all this pretty much boils down to the fact of I've had budget companies constantly email me and want to send out products to me to be able to cover for my YouTube channel to pretty much foster this thought process of staying within a budget or staying within a scope of keeping content creators buying budget stuff, especially people who are getting into content creation, because content creation as an industry has been booming. We all know this since like COVID and stuff. More and more people are becoming content creators. It's easy nowadays to pick up a cell phone and just post on whatever social media platform. It's easier and more accessible to people to stream or to record videos, or whatever, for whatever platform. There's a plethora of editing software out there. There's all these companies vying for the budget realm because they know that's where most of these consumers who are getting into content creation are going to land themselves as far as getting, because for some of them they can't justify purchasing, something that's more expensive or wherever, or they don't see the need to when they see on Amazon or wherever website or whatever people are pushing as far as products go on YouTube or something like that. When they do in product reviews, they see I would say content creators pushing the narrative of don't spend too much money, don't do this, don't do that, just start creating content, and like all these really bad advice that are trapping people into the thing of, well, I've been using, the Logitech C920 for 5 years. I don't understand why I'm not seeing any improvement in my viewership or anything like that, or why haven't I made it as a content creator yet? Don't worry, one day it will happen because I have suitable, or I would say substantiable enough gear that's going to allow me to make it, and they don't see a reason to upgrade. And if you ask people like within comment sections, I've done it with people that I know personally, IRL, with like streaming and my content creator friends, and I'd be like, hey, I think it's about time for you to upgrade, your webcam, or upgrade your keyboard and mouse, or, try to do other things outside of gaming in order to open up your repertoire and open up your viewership or wherever chances by doing what people need to do as a content creator nowadays, because these are people who have goals and aspirations of making it as a content creator, but they won't go out and venture and forth and do those things. They won't go out and get a actual camera. They won't, or a point and shoot camera, APS-C camera. Like they won't go into the used market and do their research and pick up one of those cameras or wherever to really open up the avenues of them making content, and or they won't use skills and stuff they have as far as like gifts go, because some of them make music, some of them are really good at making art and stuff. They won't sit there and push that kind of stuff in order to make it as a content creator. They stick into gaming and they stick into having crappy stuff or wherever, whether it be audio, visual, whatever it may be, thinking that they're going to make it. And it's sorry to say that some of them are not on the esports level. Some of them are stuck playing games that are super niche and old or wherever, that probably would be better if they cut it down into YouTube videos and post the stuff. Some of them I know do walkthroughs of all these games or wherever. They have funny commentary, all that stuff. But after they're done live streaming it, they won't convert it into, I would say, evergreen content as far as editing that stuff down and posting it on YouTube. And they could be making it as a content creator. They can be getting thousands of views, if not hundreds of thousands, 20,000 views, something like that with those videos. Because again, they have the opportunity to do it. They just won't do it. They won't invest into their future. They won't invest into the right equipment. And that is the problem when it comes to having so many companies focused on budget stuff, that is very hard to find the diamonds in the rough. And when I try to do is try to find diamonds in the rough that are worth the prices that the companies are offering. But then when I look at my competition or people in my space who are just saying everything is worth it, and it's not true, then what am I supposed to do? Look at what's happening with NZXT. This is a perfect example. If anybody's been following that drama or whatever with NZXT, a PC company, and see what their content creators that they paid for sponsor shots and stuff like that to do videos and stuff, see the marketing speak and what they did or wherever, into tricking people into a scam of renting a PC. And these are content creators or wherever who are backtracking, saying it's the company's fault because they read the script and all that stuff or wherever. And it's actually the content creators' fault because they didn't do their due diligence on what they were getting paid for. They just saw the money. They just saw free products. And that's the problem with budget items. It's the same thing. Companies will reach out to content creators who barely have any followers or something like that. Maybe it's a paid video, maybe it's not, but they're getting free items and they're like, oh, everybody loves free, right? Everybody loves free gifts, right? So they'll do the videos And then they'll be like, yeah, go out and get this thing because they want to keep getting the free products from the companies. They want to keep getting products to be able to do videos and stuff like that, not realizing that it's not only hurting them as a content creator because shit like this happens with NZXT and the companies get exposed, but it also hurts the end user, the consumer, and the person who's trying to be a content creator potentially picking up that stuff because they're getting something that's going to keep them trapped or wherever for the next 2, 3, 4 years, thinking that they don't have to upgrade, that they don't have to get anything better, that they whatever they got is sufficient enough to make it as a content creator. And that's just a lie. And that's the problem, is that most people will tell you to just go ahead and start recording, just go ahead and start doing content creation and get all the gear and stuff like that as you progress and as you start making money from it and all that stuff or wherever. And I say, no, that is the wrong information. You should be building up your whole setup, all your stuff or wherever, and then launching your content creation journey so you don't have to upgrade later on. If you set yourself up for failure at the beginning, you're not going to see any progress 5, 6 years down the line, unless somehow you get some kind of disposable income extra or whatever for maybe picking up extra shifts or something like that. And then you can finally upgrade your microphone or camera, whatever it is. But if you set yourself up for success at the beginning, then the next 5, 10 years, you don't really have to upgrade anything. Your setup might change around, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? And for point of reference, the Sony ZV-E10 Mark I with the 16mm lens from Sigma or wherever, it's going to be perfectly fine for a lot of people to survive them for the next 3 or 4 years. They wouldn't have to upgrade or anything unless they really wanted to, but just a locked off standoff camera or whatever, sitting on a tripod, ready to go and record straight into OBS all the time. I've been doing it for the past like 3 years, you know what I'm saying? And I've been intermittently changing, cameras in and out or whatever, depending on what B-roll and stuff I need. But for 99% of the videos I've done, and I've had various levels of success or wherever, that's mostly on me as I'm doing that personality. But visually, for the most part, I would say sometimes, yeah, it hasn't looked good, but that's like the pains of experience and working with cameras and stuff like that as far as visually goes. But I've had this gear that I didn't really need to upgrade from. I purchased other stuff or whatever because I had the disposable income and I wanted to. I don't need to switch this camera out for a 10-bit or going with FX30 or switching it out for the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. I can use that for my B-roll. I can use that for time lapse. I can use it for pictures, going outside, vlogging, all that stuff. I can do that with that camera. But this camera can sit here for the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be perfectly fine and suitable for my content creation needs. And you can find it used for $510. I've seen it as low as just the body alone with no lens or anything. And people would be like, well, that's way too expensive. I'll stay with my C920. And the circle just continues. They'll never move up to $100 to $200 webcam. They will never move up from a $50 interface and a $50 microphone instead of going with something that's going to be a better sound quality. Because at the end of the day, you need to think about, if you're trying to make this into a job and out of a hobby and you're trying to make money from this and stuff, you have to start thinking about the end user, the viewer that is viewing your stuff. Are they enjoying it from a viewership standpoint? Are they enjoying it audibly? Are they enjoying it visually? Like, what is their take on your content? And yes, sometimes viewers will overstep their bounds. I've had it multiple times where people say they don't like my background because too many moving stuff, all this stuff or wherever. But it's like, fuck you. This is my setup. I can do whatever the fuck I want. If you don't like it, you can move on. That is a terrible mindset to have, admittedly, but that's my mindset because I purchased all this gear. You don't come and tell me how to run my channel and stuff because, again, I don't have the mindset of turning it into a job or wherever. But if I did, I would get the wood slap panels and do all this crazy B-roll and stuff like that, and I would say produce content to the point to where I'm telling you to pick up products and stuff like the streamers and the content creators did for NZXT. I could start peddling that stuff, but that's not my MO. That's not what I want to do. That goes in stark contrast of what I'm actually trying to do with my channel and my brand. So it also boils down to, what are you trying to do with your own channel and your own brand and whatever content you're trying to make? But I would argue that setting yourself up for success before you start out and doing content creation, yes, there's going to be stuff that is only going to be inherent by experience, that you're only going to be able to gather by having those years of experience, whether it be editing, making structured videos and stuff like that, what kind of videos you want to make, finding your audience, finding your niche, all that stuff. But if you're so focused on that and you have all this crappy equipment because you decided to cut corners and be budget friendly and stuff and budget conscious, there's going to be times where you're going to have to go back and now you have to purchase another microphone, another audio interface, another webcam, another this, another that, better this, better that, or wherever within a year time frame, couple months or something like that, because you just found out like, hey, this budget item is actually not what I need in order to be successful. And again, there are going to be budget items out there that you can find that are going to be great for you as far as like desk accessories, ways, things that are going to simplify your workflow and stuff and make it better, that are going to be under $100 that would be considered budget. But they're going to be so far and few in between based off of my experience of doing content creation video work since 2014 and then streaming since 2015 and doing product reviews and work with brands and companies and building this space out for about 3 years. I am able to sit here and tell you that yes, you are going to find those budget items that are going to be under $100 that are going to smooth your workflow and they're going to be worth it. But there are some items that you don't want to cheap out on, that you're going to want to invest that $100, that $200 in. And it's up to you to do your research and find out what items those are for you. But sitting there just having the mindset of everything must be under $100 and that's how I'm going to make it to, YouTube partnership and bank or wherever off this stuff, quitting a job, doing all this stuff. And that's just feasibly not possible unless for some reason you have enough pull in the community outside of content creation. And when you start being a content creator, whether it be streaming video format, whatever it may be, you're able to pull those resources into it. Or you're somebody who's like a very professional pro player or wherever, and then you decide to start making content. You know what I'm saying? Like there are going to be those few outliers. There are going to be people who, but that's going to be like one in like 100,000, if not more, you know what I'm saying, is statistically ratioed out. Like it's not going to be, stop having the mindset is going to be you. You know what I'm saying? There's too many people to have that mindset to where, oh, I'll start making content in the next 5 years or wherever. I'll be able to make money off of this substantially enough to pay a couple of bills. That's you're setting yourself up for failure when you look at what else is out there as competition within the niche that you're trying to do, and you see the quality of content and the value they're bringing to their viewers and stuff. And you look at yours, and again, I'm not trying to have you self-defecate or wherever on yourself or wherever and bring yourself down or wherever, because I know there's people struggling out there with money and all that stuff. And just think about maybe starting content creation when you're in a better spot. You know what I'm saying? I've been there where my bank account was in the negative. I would only dream about having the stuff I have now, and I couldn't even work. You know what I'm saying? And my bank account was, like I said, in the negative monthly all the time. I was getting bank notices saying that they were going to close down my accounts and stuff monthly. Like, I understand it being negative over $100 in your banking. I completely understand it. But again, if you're trying to take this seriously, you need to approach it being prepared. And I will link it to this. If you're going on a trip, like a flight or something like that, or you're going out camping, or you're going out for wilderness survival or something like that, you would do the preparation. You would take the equipment that you need and the stuff that you need in order to go on that trip or go on that camping spree or going on that survivalist trip or something like that. You wouldn't go into the desert when you know you're going into the desert to camp or to, trek or on a hike or something like that, and you wouldn't pack any water. Why would you do that? You would pack enough water suitably for you and maybe a little bit more for emergency cases. Like you would tell people where you were going. You know what I'm saying? You would bring certain equipment or wherever to be an SOS beacon or something like that. Like you would take a flashlight, you would take the right kind of tent and stuff like you need or where, like you would prepare and take all that stuff with you. And that's the way that you need to approach content creation. If you're trying to take it seriously, you need to get the equipment that's going to allow you to accomplish that and make sense. And I'm saying all this because there is a company that has been emailing me for months to check out so many different gear after I've told them multiple times to not contact me anymore. I've talked about my frustrations working with the company and their products and stuff being on the budget friendly end or wherever. And that company is Mayano. And they finally reached out to me. They have a microphone that looks eerily similar to the Fine K688. And you guys know that that's like my favorite microphone from them. Although it's not their best sounding microphone, admittedly, the Amplitank Tank 3, in my personal opinion, is probably the best one. But I just like the Fine K688. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And it seems like they made improvements based on the pictures and what I've seen or wherever of the microphone that's coming out. And I'm like, I want to see how they progressed, how they taken my feedback and stuff like that. And I'm willing to see after so much time has passed to see where the company is at now. Because if a company is willing to take feedback and take all the negative feedback or whatever and truly offer somebody something for a budget price, then I'm willing to take a look at it because they have an audio interface that I think will be paired with it pretty nicely or wherever for a budget item or wherever. And I've covered one of their audio mixers in the past and I told them, hey, you need to make this work with your software or something like that to add value. Stop doing all this gimmicky stuff. And they finally made an audio interface that seems to be exactly what I talked about. And it might actually be worth the materials it's made out of. And what actually pushed me into this, I would say, direction is somebody that I take their opinion of very, very seriously. And I respect the person. They trash a lot of companies like I do or wherever for not really adding value to the consumer and coming out with these trash budget products and keeping people in this mindset of I can get by doing content creation and stuff like that. There's no need for me to pay $100, $200, all this stuff or whatever that we talked about before. And they had to go out and purchase this product with their own money because Mayano won't work with them anymore because they've burnt that bridge pretty much by just being honest. And somehow I didn't burn the bridge. I don't know why. The representative keeps contacting me and I told him, hey, you can send me out the product or wherever with this audio interface, with this microphone or wherever, send it out to me. I'll take a look at it or wherever. They have not emailed me back. It's been about a day and a half to 2 days or wherever. I don't know. It's the holiday season. I don't know what's going on. It might just be a while for me to hear back from them. Maybe they just don't want to in the future. I don't know. Maybe it was just a missed email or something. They emailed the wrong person. Who knows? So if eventually it pops up on the channel, I wanted to make this video as a prerequisite so I can reference it in that video if I do to make it, so people know why I decided to work with Mayano again. Because I think companies can, to make a turnaround, they can add value to the budget realm, because right now there's too many budget items for content creators that's being geared towards you guys that are going to keep you in this gear trap of only using budget stuff and not venturing out and getting stuff that's actually worth a damn and is actually worth the price that the company's charging, that's going to last you for years to come. And there are going to be companies that do charge these prices over $100 or $200, like the Beacon stuff or wherever, that should be $100 less pretty much on all their items. And they're going to ask you to pay a premium when they're not worth it. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to you to be able to decide, is it worth picking up a product or not? Is it going to last me or not? Is this something that I should not cheap out on? Is this something that I should not just stick to the budget realm or wherever? And should I go out and purchase something a little bit more expensive? Is it going to pay off in the end, etc.? Like, this is stuff that you have to do. You shouldn't have a itchy trigger finger. You shouldn't have a burning hole in your wallet. You should make purchases that make sense for you and the type of content that you're doing or wherever. And is it going to allow you to grow as a content creator and allow you to stack up to the competition that's in your genre or category of content creation? To be honest, let's be honest. So many people nowadays have 4K 30 webcams, have actual cameras, do stuff or wherever that allows them to be able to make it as a content creator, with whether it's people sitting there, subscribing to their Patreon or subscribing to their channel memberships or subscribing to their YouTube channel, getting into analytics so they get into ad revenue, stuff like that. You have to look at the competition. You have to look at what's suitable for what you're trying to do, and is the price justified? Will it make more sense to pay a little bit more? Like, you have to do that. And the only way you can do that is self-education, not just sitting there saying everything that's over $100 for content creation is just overpriced and I'm not getting a dang thing. Like, that's not going to help you out at all trying to do this. And like I said, there's going to be outliers. There's going to be people out there who will be able to make it as a content creator by getting nothing but budget items. And they just, again, but those are the diamonds in the rough. Those are the few, you know what I'm saying? And everybody out there thinking that's going to be them is the mindset that's going to trap you and keep you stuck for the next 3-5 years. And then you're finally going to have that light bulb go off in your head, because that's what happened to me. And I'm telling you, when I realized it, I still didn't have the money to do stuff, but I still found ways to upgrade my setup, or wherever, spending $100 a month, $200 a month, or wherever on gear to incorporate into my setup to give the best experience for my live stream as I could. And I started seeing the viewership go up. And then when I start focusing on YouTube and started getting the cameras and stuff like that and switching stuff around, I started to see the subscribers and the viewerships and all that stuff go up because I was able to dial in and get the equipment and get what I needed or wherever to be successful. I didn't rely on just keeping my budget stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made investments into stuff that actually made sense. And like I said, hopefully Mayano has turned stuff around and hopefully it's something that's going to make sense. But at the end of the day, you probably still don't want to get budget stuff because yes, it's going to get the job done, but it's still going to be inferior to stuff that's from brands that know what they're doing, that's always been offering top of the line stuff. And now they have a budget level entry. And you're still going to get that top of the line stuff. You're just not going to have the same quality as something that costs way vastly, I would say, more. But that still doesn't mean that it's going to diminish in the quality that you're going to be able to produce for your viewers. And that's the important part. So with all that being said, if you made it to the end of the video, write tentacle down in the comment section so I know that people actually watch this whole entire video. I don't know, but y'all take care. Have a squidtastic day. God bless you and yours, and deuces. Hopefully this was informational to somebody out there. That's the goal.